Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So I recently did some spring cleaning, selling some, extra copies of cards and such that I was sitting on that maybe have, gone up in price or whatever. And I was able to raise a couple $100 here. You see, we got about $500. We're gonna invest that right back into the game. And I'm planning on buying a very important card that is going to change my deck. And I think it's one of the best cards in the game. And I'll just leave it at that for now. And I'm going to use a tool to help me figure out which card it is that I actually want to buy. It's a brand new tool. I'm actually one of the people, along with Brave Tofu, or Topical Tofu on Twitter, to develop this tool, to put this tool together. And I'm excited to show you it for the first time. It's been going on behind the scenes for a while. And yeah, so it's time for the reveal. So here we have SplinterGuide. So Brave Tofu and I are building this out. This, it's been floating around a little bit. We've shared it with some people. But we want to build basically the go-to strategy site for Splinterlands. This is sort of the just, version 1 launch of what we have. And right now, I would say we have two things that we offer. The first and the biggest is this rating system and this table in general. I think this table is one of the smoothest interactions within any Splinterland site you will have for this information, being the first thing. So again, you want to look at, let's say Earth, you got Obsidian, you want to see the highest magic attacks. Boom, a list will pop up, and now you know which cards in Earth have the highest magic attacks, along with their rating by league. So this rating is a formula we put together and we tested. Brave Tofu actually posted the methodology. I'm not going to get fully into it, but we spent a lot of time on it. So we've checked it with a lot of people who are really good at the game, and we think we have it in a really good place. But yeah, so this table is pretty sick. I need some reverse speed cards in Earth. Boom. Let's do by lowest speed. And you're going to get the list of all the cards with 1 speed, 2 speed, etc. You can do this across multiple splinters, right? So I can have Earth and Life up. I can bring up Neutral, Earth, and Dragon if you want to build that out. There's a lot of flexibility with this table. Very, very cool. So the main thing here that I love is these ratings. And that's what I'm going to use to figure out which card it is that I want to buy. So I play in the Diamond League. Each card has a different rating for each league it's in, which makes sense because its stats change, its abilities change. And here you can see the top cards rated for Diamond and Champ League. And this table is really, really cool. This came out really great. And one example I want to show you is the Spirit Miner here, right? So the Spirit Miner, we don't have a lot of information filled out for the specific wild cards yet. So this is a work in progress, but Spirit Miner, right, it starts with 2 magic and dodge. 2 magic with swiftness, so it gets a little better. But it doesn't get really great until it adds in the blind, right? The swiftness and the blind combination is crazy. It works so well together. So if we close this out and come back to the table, you can see early on, bronze and silver levels, it's fine, right? 7, 7.5, not a bad card. It's neutral, so that matters. But then once you add in the blind with the swiftness, that's when you see the jump, right? It jumps up to a great card once you get to gold. And you'll see that across these as you sort of play with it. Cards that are good at lower levels might not necessarily be good at higher levels. Let's take a look here, see if we can find an example. So here's a card that gets worse as we go. Phantom of the Abyss, right? So Phantom of the Abyss right away starts off with flying and dodge with a really high speed. At the lower levels, that's tough. There's not that many fast cards. You're not getting that many snares. It has a decent amount of health, so it's just hard to get. As it progresses, the cards around it get better, right? There's more snares, there's more true strikes, There's more higher magic attacks, right? There's more ways that you can eliminate the Phantom of the Abyss in the higher leagues than there are earlier on. So this is an example of early on, this card's sick, but it starts to lose a little bit of its luster as you get into the higher leagues, as the cards around it get better in comparison. Carnage Titan is another one. So Carnage Titan's a good card early on, right? You're talking about a double strike reach card. That's awesome. That's sick. But then here, once you get to the top level, it doesn't really add much, right? It kind of stays the same. His attack gets a little better, but now you have introduction of Giant Killer. You have more blast monsters. You have more scatter shot monsters. You have better defensive monsters up front. There's more healing strategies. The Carnage Titan just is not as good at the higher levels as it is in lower levels. So that's what this table represents. It's pretty cool. So for the point of this, I want to look at what are some of the top diamond cards here? Diamond champion cards. What can I pick up for my deck? I have some of these. Sandworm's definitely an option. It's a fantastic card. You know, this is an example. At every level, Sandworm's pretty good, right? So you see here, pretty consistent across the table. We're very proud of this table, as you can see. So one card that I don't have that really sticks out here is the Alamo Cambio. We have it at a 9.6. Which is the 5th highest rated card. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Incredibly high health, 6 speed for only 7 mana, and it's neutral. And then you guys know its abilities. Immunity, you can't poison this thing. Phase, it can dodge magic, and then return fire and magic reflect. This is a no-brainer add for me. You know, obviously I don't have the Crawless, but the Crawless is more expensive than the Alamo Cambio. Right, so with this rating system, they're pretty close, and the price that it would cost me to get the Crawless right now is significantly higher than the Alamo Cambio. So even though Crawless is higher rated, I'm going to have to go with the Alamo Cambio. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come here. Gotta go to buy first. Sorry. Going to go to the Alamo. So we're going to do the bulk buy 11. I used to have a level 3 of this guy back in the day, so I've never actually had a max copy. That is changing right now. So hit buy. All right, and while that processes, we're gonna come back here. The other part of this site that we have launched right now, I would suggest opening a new tab because there's an issue with the table right now where I've sort of set up this filter, and if I open up this card and come back, the table will reset. We're working on that. But for now, when you want to look at a card, just do open a new tab. So he's a modern card, so we have this filled out. So here you can come, see what it looks like at level 1, what it looks like maxed out, have some pricing information here. Again, we're still building all this stuff out. Top cards to play with. This is the other part. So we have synergies. Right, we have some of the top synergies you can play with each card. We need to build this part out. We're also going to have counters. So as you can see right now, we haven't written out the text much, but what are the counters for Alamo? True Strike, right? You have the Ancient Redwood, which does big True Strike damage. And on top of that, right, it's ranged. It has the Reflection Shield, so the Return Fire isn't going to hurt the Ancient Redwood. Gorglodon, another thing. Huge amounts of True Strike damage. Can't miss Alamo. Tidebiter, True Strike as well. Then here are 2 Oppress monsters, right? We're going to type all this out eventually. We'll get to it. But we've typed out the synergies, right? So Heal monster makes sense, right? Immunity, high health, you can always heal. Amplify monsters, right? Return Fire, Magic Reflect. Anything with Amplify is good. This also has Swiftness, right? So it's going to even make it harder to hit. Then we're talking about the Spirit Miner, right? Spirit Miner, Blind, and Swiftness. We already talked about that. Adding in a Blind with the Alamo Cambio, awesome. Spirit of the Forest. You get the Protect as well as the Heal. Great. Alamo with the Venator, Amplify ability, and the Slow. We need to add some stuff here. Again, work in progress. We're very excited about this site, but it is very, very much at the beginning stages. So what can you do with this information, right? This isn't meant to be an exhaustive list, right? There's tons of heals, there's tons of amplifies, there's tons of things that synergize well. It's to get you to start thinking, right? We don't want to list 100 out because that doesn't become that useful, right? But as you can see here, what works well? Heals work well. Amplifies work well. Speed moderation, speed adjustments work well. So what can you do here? You're like, well, I don't really have that many amplify monsters. A really cool thing about this table is if you come to this search bar right here and you type in an ability, you will get every monster that has that ability, right? And then you can sort it. So, you play in bronze, amplify, here are the best bronze cards that eventually get amplify, right? Not all of these are going to have these at the bronze level, but if you're trying to build up a card to eventually get to the amplify level, it's like Queen Mycelia, for example, right? It gets it early. So these are listed in order. So Queen Mycelia might be a card where you're like, I know it's a little expensive, it's highly rated in bronze, and it's the second ability it gets. So if we go to Queen Mycelia, you see right here at silver, it does get amplify. So there's a bunch of different ways you can interact with this table. This search bar right here is your friend. It's obviously easier if you're talking about Diamond and Champion because they'll have all of these abilities. But this is just a starting point, right? Then we talked about, right, Rivernet, amplify with the swiftness. So you can look around and say, what other cards, what other abilities, what other whatever would synergize well with the Alamo Cambio? We don't really need cleanse. Protect works really well, and the slow works really well. You could also come in here, right? And you're gonna get way more options here. But type in swiftness. And you can just sort of scroll through and see what would work well with Alamo. So again, nothing too crazy. We are just starting to build this out. We think this is going to be a very, very helpful tool. I just used it right now to come in and buy a card I think is one of the best in the game by myself, and our created rating system does as well. If you want to start clicking around on this table, we would love to have you sort of experimenting. Another thing we have is a comment section down here at the bottom. So if you want to start talking about a card, you can come in and start talking about it, right? We want to make a big community of people talking about cards they like, don't like, asking questions, etc. Again, very initial version of this. I'm going to put a link to this in the video description. Come check it out. Check out the table. Give us some feedback. What's some stuff you'd want to see on this site, etc. Again, very excited about this tool. We feel like there's a big area missing in terms of people creating a strategy site, right? Like the main goal of this is strategy, strategy, strategy. So we're excited to build this out. There's not a lot of stuff here, but that is coming soon. To end it, just gonna come here, check out my new toy, neutral, legendary. There it is. Thank you, Splinter Guides. And let's see this jump up to all its glory at level 4. Boom, there it is. Welcome to the squad, brand new toy. Excited to use them. I'm gonna end it there. Check out SplinterGuide. Let us know what you think. I'll talk to you guys soon and see you around the game.